Hey world, my name is Danny Brown, and this is EDMDMA, the rave culture. If you haven't seen the first three segments in the series, I would highly recommend watching those three before this one. Anyways, from a little research in just one concert, I can only learn so much. There's certainly more experienced ravers than me that I know, so I decided to bring one in. He's a professional.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Hunter Sayon, friend. My first ever concert was something called Electric Adventure, and it's an event at Six Flags in New Jersey, and during the day it's Six Flags rides, and then at night it turns into a super massive rave, and like the headliners there were Dylan Francis, Flostradamus, and Diplo. So that was my first one, and that was an awesome time. And then since then I've been to RL Grime, Bass Nectar, Carnage, Steve Agnello, just like a ton of really good people. This quarter I went to Life in Color, and it was an awesome time. The people who were there were Carnage, Mount Eden, and Pegboard Nerds. And Pegboard Nerds is dubstep, and then the rest are like trap kind of EDM style. And it was an awesome time. They pretty much just like shoot paint at you. Like there's a giant countdown, and then once it hits 0, it's around like midnight, and they start, or probably like 11. They start like shooting paint at you for the rest of the night till 2 in the morning. It's a good time, and it like corresponds with the music. It's fun. There's a lot. I'd have to say maybe Dioro or Avicii or even Loudpack, any of those people. There's a ton though. I could go on for a while, and in particular RL Grime. When we saw him at concert, it was awesome. It's really hard to describe what a rave's like unless you've been to one. It's pretty crazy. The energy is just like all like on another level. It's a really fun time, and everyone's feeding off each other's energy, and it really just gets you really pumped up, and it's a lot of fun and a good time. My favorite part about raves is probably again just like the level of energy that's there. Everyone's going nuts, and it's really hard to have a bad time unless you really hate the music. But it's really cool once you get there. Like there's people of every different type. There's like those little preteens who are just finding out about the music. Then there's those hardcore ravers who are decked out in this stuff called candy. And then there's like the older people who are just kind of creeping in the back, and you're like, what are they doing here? And then there's just like the normal people like me and you, I'd assume. And back to that candy. Candy is like a bracelet type thing that ravers make, and it has, you can choose whatever letters you want on it, and people really get into it. They'll even make like face masks out of it, and just like hats, you name it. And they like to trade it too. It's kind of like collectibles, if you will. So when people like see each other in concert and they're like, oh, that's a sweet candy bracelet, I love that, and they're like, oh, I see yours, that's awesome, let's trade. And then they have this like handshake thing that they do. It's called Plur, which is actually like the motto of the rave community, if you will. It's called peace, love, unity, respect, and the handshake goes along with that. It starts off, there's 2 people, and it goes peace, and then love, like with hearts, and then unity together, and then respect, like that, and then they take their other hands and move the bracelets from arm to arm. It's funny when you see people doing it. I've never done it. I'm not super into candy, but there's some people who literally their entire arms are covered. Plur is just kind of like a general philosophy that everyone goes by, because like everyone at these types of places, like they don't really care who anybody else is. Like they're all there to have a good time, and it's like a super embracing community. And again, it's peace, love, unity, respect, which kind of speaks for itself about like the people who are going there. It's semi-hippie type, if you will, like the Woodstock generation of today.
Thanks again, Hunter, for coming in. I really appreciate it. Plur is an interesting topic to me. At the concert that Hunter and I went to, the Juicy J, R.L. Grime, Salva, and Bass Physics concert, the mainstream rave concert that I referred to, I definitely felt a Plur connection with all the other people in the crowd. The one Plur perspective that I thought was lacking was the feeling with the performance. Peace, love, unity, and respect. Throwing money on women, sponsoring the whole event by an alcohol company, throwing stupid free things at the crowd, it's clear that money is now a primary aspect, as opposed to the previous underground scene, where money really wasn't as important. It was more about the Plur feeling of the community. It was clear back in the 80s in Ibiza, the bar owners, they needed money, but it was more about the parties. And now that raving's popular, so is MDMA. So what do we do with this? Well, we educate, like we do with any other drug, the dangers of this drug. Because overusage can lead to permanent brain damage, and overdosing can lead to death. If somebody knows the dangers of a drug, then they should be able to decide for themselves to take the drug or to not take the drug. After all, pretty much all of life is risk versus reward, isn't it? What am I going to do now that I know about raves? Well, I'm probably going to go to more raves. You only live once, right?
It's your birthday, 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 it's your birthday.
If I could have one thing.
When I die, bury me inside the Gucci stuff. When I die, bury me inside the Louis stuff. All I want for my birthday is a big booty up. All I want for my birthday is a big